G'day and welcome to David Joshua Ford Live. This is episode 89, and on today's show we're going to take a look at some works in progress, some of the things that I have going on in the studio here. I've got some things I've been working on that are incomplete, so this is what I'm going to look at today. The teleprompter that I'm looking at you on here, I've got a sort of DJF clock, and then also I have a Stream Deck Studio, which if we have enough time we could get to unboxing that on today's show. But I'm going to be doing a lot more on Stream Deck Studio coming up because I'm very excited about where that is heading and the products that are coming out there. If you are in the chat, let me know. It'd be great to know where you're from. And also if you have any questions about live streaming, photography or video production, drop them in there and we can answer them. On today's show, I wanted to start off with taking a look at the teleprompter because it's one of the main things that I rely on here in doing a weekly show, one that I'm switching myself, but also presenting. And when I'm looking at a PTZ camera that is directly in front of me here, it's actually housed in a teleprompter because that enables me to have the program feed in there so I can make sure that as I'm cutting, I have the right things on. Sometimes I can think I'm talking about showing you something on the computer, and if I haven't got that up on the screen, then I can rattle on and you won't see that. So this is kind of a behind the scenes look here at what we have. I just have a little camera back here so we can pan around a bit. It's probably not a great view. I didn't have quite enough time to set up here, but I've got sort of two screens on the front here and then the teleprompter screen down the back there that we can take a look at. I was gonna get my phone up and running too. Let me get QuickTime Player, and I'm going to start a new movie. Should have had this up and going. Movie recording, and I'm just going to make sure we have full screen on that. Okay, so here we go. Whoop. Hopefully we can have a look at this. We have, and maybe dropping out a bit. I feel like the connection here is a little wobbly. I'll try and just go Wi-Fi. Is that better? No, it's still. All right, for some reason the connection here is a little wobbly, but this is what I'm looking at here. I've got my main monitor here. I realize that is flickering away like crazy. And then I got my teleprompter up the front here. Let me just get back to a shot that actually makes sense. There's some, I don't know if it's a Wi-Fi problem. It's something to do with Apple. I'm gonna blame Apple for that one. But that's a quick look at like what I'm looking at here. I'll see if I can bring up another shot. So we've got, this is the teleprompter on my other camera, and I can probably bring up the gain so you can sort of see what's going on there. And let me just quit QuickTime Player so that you can see what's going on there. Gain is, I'm going to bring this up so you can have a quick look. So this is the monitor that's mounted on the front, and then I've got the like a smaller 10-inch screen. This is the old one that I had. I haven't been able to do a whole lot with that yet. I'm still working on a monitor to get in there that's the right size because I was having trouble with a number of things which we can go into in a bit. And then in the front is actually a bit of a clock that we can take a look at. And let me just come back over to, that's probably gonna be very overexposed right now, but let me have a look. We can come back to here. All right. I'm gonna take a look at these lists of things. So in the comments, in the description section, there is links to these products that we can talk about. And the first one that we can look at is this one. So this is the GVM teleprompter. It's actually a really good price at the moment on Amazon, $269. They sell at B&H, I think for about $360. Sometimes they go on sale for about $250. I just picked up one that was secondhand on B&H for about $173. So that's where I started sort of experimenting with this. It's really just a teleprompter and this tray here, which is intended for tablets, but I wanted to get a monitor onto here. So I've found a VESA cheese plate that will fit a monitor, and then I've adapted it through some Nicey Rig rod holders, because one of the problems or challenges with this particular teleprompter is that the spacing of these rails, while they're 15mm rails, which is all good, the spacing is actually 110mm. So all of your rail blocks just aren't gonna fit, and it sort of makes a very awkward mounting process. So that was the teleprompter. I'll see if I can jump around the back of it here. So on the underside, it's kind of, you're going to be mounting to that lower plate, and then the back of it is adjustable for a camera. But what I've done in mine is actually had an L bracket on the back, and then I've been able to mount a PTZ camera sort of upside down. I'll do a live stream. Once I finish this, I'll do a live stream where I can actually sort of pull apart and show you this product. But it's running today, so it's a bit harder to sort of show you that in operation, why I'm sort of showing you these pictures. But PTZ camera mounted upside down in here. The reason being is that I can get the lens much closer to that front glass, which then gives me a wider field of view. If I sort of come back to here on my wide shot, so I'm looking here out through the teleprompter glass, and if I pan across, you'll see my monitors, but then you'll see the wall. So I've got a really wide field of view here, and then this black coming in here, that's the edge of the teleprompter. So let me see up here. And so we've got quite, if you see that field of view is quite big. And then down here, I've got a 10-inch screen. So it just gives me plenty of space to shoot what I want. Because one of the things about having a PTZ camera in that is you want it to be able to bring up multiple shots rather than just like one shot and have it fixed and then that's locked off. PTZ camera is great because you can have wide and close and go in further, but then I also want to be able to sort of, as much as possible, go side to side. So that's the advantage of getting the camera as close as I can to the glass, and just gives me that wider field of view. And then this base plate is also awkward to adapt. So it's probably good just for a tablet. And then if you wanted to put an actual monitor on there, I've got another sort of way of doing that. Which, let me see, I can bring that up under, so I've got this Smorig, no, not the cheese bar, the Camvate cheese plate, this one. So this cheese plate here will go on the back of 75mm or 100mm VESA mounts. So it gives a wide range of monitors that you can connect to. And then because of all these cheese holes, it means that you can adapt the mounting points to fit that 110mm rather than it being the standard 60mm. So that is going to be the back of my mounting for the monitor, and then I've got some single rod holder, these ones. So then these are mounted to the cheese plate, and because of these adjustments here, you can have 2 screws for security, to make it really rigid on both of the mounts. But there's also a little bit of room to move it back and forth so that you can line it up and then lock it down, and then you have 110mm, spacing between these 2 rods that then becomes the monitor that is laid on there. So that's been the way that I've mounted that one. What else did I have on there? I'll get to the other monitor in a bit. And then, okay, so that's the teleprompter. Let me jump over to the UPerfect. So this teleprompter can take up to about 18.5 inches. You're probably going to have a little bit of cropping in the lower section of the teleprompter in this particular GVM teleprompter. And so up to 18.5, 17.3 is probably sort of a better fit for that. This monitor I liked, I'm not 100% sold on it yet, and it may not stay, but really good price at the moment, $139. But mainly what I'm looking for is couple of things. One is these VESA mounts, so I can actually use a regular VESA 75mm mount on the back. So that's where I'm using that cheese plate that I just showed you. That's mounted on the back of this to the monitor. Also, it's really flat, so because on this particular monitor, there's not a huge adjustable space between the monitors. So if you have your tray and the glass like that, and then you start stacking a big monitor on there, then the monitor's sort of going to come up into your field of view of the camera. So there's that, and then it has the inputs here are a mini HDMI input, full HD, so it's 1920 by 1080, and it's also got the USB-C. So there's two USB-Cs. You can either do one for power and one for connected straight into a computer, or the route that I wanted to go was actually getting a video out from my Constellation 2ME, and I'm taking a SDI out and converting it to HDMI, and then feeding that into this monitor in HDMI. And the good thing about this monitor is it actually will accept a 30 frame rate refresh. There are some monitors out there that only do 60 cycles per second, so like frames per second. So what that means is if you are doing a live stream and you've set your frame rate to 24 or 2997, then these monitors won't accept that because they're looking for a computer refresh rate of 60 hertz. So this one is good because it means I can plug it straight into my ATEM. The problem with the teleprompter, of course, is that you need to flip it, and this monitor doesn't do that. So that brings in another problem of how do you flip it? If you're just running text, most applications will have software that can flip it within the program so that it corrects itself once it goes through the mirror of the teleprompter. But for my purposes, a lot of what I'm running is actually sort of as a confidence monitor, so I need to be able to accept a regular video feed regardless of whether it's text or video. So that's what I've got going with that one. So it's been fairly good. The other thing I have noticed, and I need to test this a bit more, but compared to my Lilliput monitor that is in here at the moment, the 10-inch production monitor is much brighter than this screen. This screen looks plenty bright enough when I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it down here. I've got it as a sort of monitor at the moment. Let me see if I can bring that one up down the back here. Okay, here we go. Here's a view of the studio that I can show you without going crazy. So I have my main screen that I look at for a computer that is then relayed into the live stream in terms of showing you things on a browser. I've got another monitor here, which is part of my computer setup. So when I'm not live streaming, I bring these two monitors in and then I'm just editing. And then my live streaming setup here is on this teleprompter. And then I've got this monitor here. At the moment, I'm using as the talent monitor and not as the actual teleprompter monitor. So the teleprompter monitor, which you can see here, I guess, is my old monitor, which is more of a 10.5-inch screen. And I was just finding that it was because I like to have my camera a fair way back because it means that I can set up shots like this one, like if you have your camera too close, then I can't get wide and show the studio. So I like having it this far back, which means the camera has to go further back, which means that I need a teleprompter that is bigger so I can sort of read comments, because I do try to read it as much as possible from the screen rather than sort of looking down to a computer and that kind of thing. So the size matters in that regard, and being able to see that is great because you've got I can put up text as well to read on that, as well as reading the comments. So that's what I've got with that. The old monitor that I was using is down here. I can't even remember. I bought this years ago, and it is handy for traveling, but it was just getting a little bit too small for most use cases. It's again pretty basic, and I had also adapted this one. It also has a tray, and it has a like a black hood that kind of thing. So this was taking the, I don't know if you can see in here, this had standard sized holes here. Let me go into this view, maybe you can see here. So this had sort of the standard size holes to accept that. And what was nice about this particular monitor, you can see my face here again, is that because it had standard 60mm rail holes here, I could have a camera that is set up on a shoot, and we could sort of put on the teleprompter for things that needed teleprompter work, and then we could take off the teleprompter kind of almost like a matte box, and it just made it a lot faster than getting the whole camera and re-rigging it onto a teleprompter. So like where you're like taking away the base. So that was, that's been pretty good, and I'll still use this one for maybe like a secondary monitor if I need that. I'll just lock this down so it stands up. There's just Velcro on the top. Let's put this one down here. I've got my microphone in shot because I was doing another shoot in the studio. And I also realized I need to adjust my exposure here because I went crazy with that before. Let me just bring this back down. I think that's much better. Okay, that'll do. So yeah, the teleprompter of this one, again, easy to travel with, and I just found ways to sort of adapt these plates, and then it had Velcro along the top here for that sort of hood. A bit smaller, a bit easier to work with. The new one that I have, let's see if I can cut over there. Let me see if I've got, do I have, yes, I do. I can go to this one again. You probably can't see in the darkness, but what I've got here is actually, so I've got a very heavy shelf over here, which has all of the equipment on that. And so I've got 2 double super clamps, and then I've got a steel pole that is coming out to here, and then I've got a super clamp that is then mounting this whole apparatus here. The reason I did that is because it's a fairly small space that I'm working with, and I didn't want to have a tripod because the legs of that will take up the whole floor space, and I want to be able to like stash Pelican cases and just like sort of a bit of a cache area of coming and going from the shoot. So that's why I've sort of gone for that mounting option, I guess you could say. So that is using, these links are in there too. So I'll just find that one. Give me a second here. So we've got, what I was saying was, reload. I don't know why it's not doing that. Okay, so double super clamp. So this is 2 clamps that are grabbing the shelf that I've got. It's a very heavy shelf, and it's a very sturdy metal shelf. And then 90 degrees is the other side of that clamp. And then I've just been to Home Depot. This isn't even an affiliate link. Where did it go? Here we go. But it was, the website is very hard to navigate. But like a $30 pipe, which is actually longer than this picture. This picture is not to scale, but you can sort of pick what one you want. So I got a 3.5 foot pipe in a 1 1/4 inch, was sort of a good diameter. I had initially a square pipe, but you really need a round pipe so that you can adjust the super clamp of the teleprompter. So so on the teleprompter, what I have is, so I have the 2 super clamps, double super clamps, and then the pole coming out, then another super clamp, and then I've got a sort of tripod head, and then I've got the teleprompter unit, and then I've got the teleprompter mounted upside down in here, and then I've also just got a safety chain just so that, because everything's mounted very vertically, you know, I don't want to accidentally loosen off something and let it tip. So that's just in case something goes awry. But that's the kind of, that's the teleprompter side of that. Like I said, I'm looking at the monitor that you've got here. I wonder if I've got any closer shots of this. This might not desk. I think I can come in a bit. There we go. Got a few more shots. This is my little back camera. Let me just zoom in here. There we go. Oop. Okay, that's a better view there. So this monitor, that's the 18.5 inch monitor. We'll get to this little monitor in a little bit. And then this is a 10-inch monitor from the old teleprompter that I'm wanting to replace. And then I've got in here the PTZ one and all that. I'm just gonna save this preset so I have that. What else do I have from the teleprompter? I think that's about it. All right. If you have any questions, let me know as we go along here. I see Stanley saying the top-down shot is a tad dark now. Oh, maybe I was looking at that. Should be balanced now. Hopefully I'll, for my main camera, I'll keep that up there about there. It's, every time you adjust something, then it's, you know, got to go back and work on that. Thank you for that. All right, next up, let's take a look at another part of the teleprompter, which is the DJF clock that I'm working on, which is sort of like a live streaming dashboard that is going to show vital statistics when you're streaming. When you're streaming on your own, I mean, anyone who's live streamed knows that there are infinitely more things that can go wrong than like photography or video. It's like, I think it's like leveling up. Photography is like very nice because there's like a camera and a lens and maybe some lighting, and like it's just, there's a lot less to go wrong. Video production, you add in sound, you add in sort of performance over time and just having to have more things in the air that are being juggled. And then live streaming is like, let's do all of that, but get it perfect first time and not screw up at all. So when you live stream for yourself as well, and you're sitting in the chair, as much as possible, I'm trying to keep my headspace as present and just sort of responding either to comments or just sort of seeing what's going on in live stream and thinking through what is next. And so as much as possible, sort of having easy access to information is very handy. So some of that is now sort of moving this over to the live stream, sorry, to the teleprompter, so that my eyeline is more direct, because I really want to keep my eyeline up here, so that when I am reading comments or just sort of keeping an eye on what's going on, that I know I don't have to like look at a computer and sort of go through windows and that kind of stuff. So the other thing that I'm working on is the DJF clock, and that's this screen that you're seeing here. So this is a sort of unique maybe. It's kind of like half a regular size 16:9 screen, and that's 14.5 inches there. And I'm basically, from a computer, have a web browser that is showing an emulator from Companion, and then I'm just putting that full screen in here. And it's, so it's, as I said, it's a work in progress, so it's not like this, for example, this countdown clock is way out of time here, but you can see I've got the, let me just see if I can get my face back on screen here. What did I have? I'm just gonna go to this one and then I'm gonna jump back over here. It's probably the easiest way to do that. And okay, so I've got the YouTube comments here. So I can see there's 11 people viewing. So it means that I can just have a sense of like how many people I'm speaking to. And also the red in the background is showing me that I'm live on air. If it was another color, I can't remember what I set it to, that would show up as an error, so I could know that something is wrong with YouTube and I need to pay attention to that. But otherwise, I'm looking at this screen and I'm going, all right, YouTube looks good. We're going live to air, excellent. The two below it are I've got the web presenter and then the ATEM. So they are both red as well, showing me that they are like streaming and they're recording. So I've got a backup of the program and I can see the duration of how long that's been going for. Then I've just got a clock, just so time is, like live streaming is all about time, and today I was 5 minutes late because I just had a lot of stuff on, and I was like, I need to give myself 5 more minutes on the clock. But usually I'm very strict about like at 2 o'clock as much as possible, like starting on the dot, because that, I guess I just grew up through broadcast, and broadcast was like, that's when it's happening. And I mean, can you imagine 5 minutes of commercials not going to air and how much that would cost? So having a clock front and center, and also gives me an idea of like, okay, if I'm doing a show from 2 to 3, then I've got half an hour, and I can just sort of keep track of time and the pacing of things, and presentation elements versus commentary with people. Which we need more comments, people. Say hi, say what's going on, say where you're from, any questions or comments about this setup. And then over here we've got the queue here. So this is showing that I'm on queue number 5. This is from my sort of run of show that I sort of trigger either with my foot or just pressing the stream deck, and it advances through all of the lighting and the sound cues and that kind of thing. And so I'm on Q5, and next to it is showing me what the next queue is, which is part 3 is coming up there. So that's what I've got at the moment with that. I'll show you the hardware behind it. So the screen is this one. So this is the brand is Wise Coco. Fun name. Again, the reason I chose, there's some 12-inch ones out there that are probably more like $100 if you want something just a little bit smaller. I chose this one because I wanted it a little bit bigger, so 14.5 inches just gives a little bit more real estate to see from further back. And then you can see on the back here, it's a little bit weird, the mounting here, but it's fairly clean, which I like. So it's a metal chassis, and then it's got this little bit that sticks up here. The mounting holes are, there's 2 sets of 75mm VESA mounts, but they're not up and down, they're not 75. So these two and these two are 75mm horizontally apart, but the distance between them, as you can see here, is 59mm, which is weird. I mean, I know it's good that they show you that, but like it really should be 75, and I think it could fit, unless there's something underneath there. So I'll show you what I've done in a second about which mount has worked well to mount this, but the holes above it, the smaller ones that are 58mm apart, those actually are the mounting holes for a Raspberry Pi. So you could actually get a Raspberry Pi and mount it to the back, and I mean, you could sort of run it as a remote, with a PoE hat. So you could get an Ethernet cable, plug that into a Raspberry Pi, it could auto boot, it could show you a particular web page and show you the clock. So that would be sort of an ideal scenario. I don't think I have like the bandwidth to kind of play around with Pis very much anymore. So the route that I'm going with this is when Apple releases their new M4 Mac Mini, M4, 5, or up to M4, yeah. I was like, I got an iPad M4, so I was like, are we up to M5? No. So there is apparently, I think next week, a new Mac Mini coming out, and I want to get one of those, which is going to be kind of the heart of my rack, and it's just going to be a computer that is on and runs like a server. At the moment, it's like running off my laptop, so I sort of turn it on and off as I go. But that computer would have a USB-C cable from the computer plugged in to this monitor. So it's basically like an extension on that. So that's how I would probably run that. And then I use screen sharing, this kind of one. Let's see if this is gonna go crazy. Okay, here we go. Bring this one over. Okay, so screen sharing on the Mac is great because it means that on my laptop, I can just log into the other computer on this network, which the main screen is running the teleprompter, and the secondary monitor is the monitor that I was showing you here. That's why it's got a weird kind of layout here.
And that's how I can sort of get in here and rearrange that. So if I click on, let me see if I've got the teleprompter full screen, so that's kind of why it doesn't do it very well. But that's how I'm sort of accessing this screen. All right, that is the screen. And then on the side, it's got, again, most of these screens sort of have two USB-Cs and a mini HD. I think the trick with these screens really that makes them not suck so much is these 180-degree adapters. So you get, because they all have this like mini HDMI plug, but you can get these mini HDMI sort of 180 plugs to go onto the full HDMI. And so that does two things. One is, if you probably can't see down here. How are we doing with number 3? You can see on here. So this is the corner of the screen, and there's on the lower right-hand corner, you can see those two little items that are, because normally the cables stick out of the monitor, and in a studio that can be messy because you've got these sort of cables sticking out and you kind of want it contained. So these adapters not only convert it to full-size HDMI, but it also sort of wraps in the cable. So that's really nice to make it feel like a full-size HDMI as well as getting more sort of cable management. So that's that one. And then you can also get a 40 gigabits, apparently, version of this to just sort of wrap the power around if you need to do that as well. That's for the larger monitor, but the Wyze Coco is quite neat because these ports are recessed. It means by default they're not actually sticking out the side of the monitor; they're behind the monitor, which makes it just look much neater when you're looking at the screen. So that's sort of the hardware aspect of that. And then to mount it with these, it's like a half VESA, like 75 millimeters across, but not up and down. If you go grab and I used to have like 2 of these, but I couldn't find them, so I bought another one because they're actually pretty handy, where did it go? The cheese bar. So this is a small rig part. It's quite handy having these. They can be a little extension kind of arm for different things, but these two holes here, this little one on the end here and there, are actually 75 millimeters apart, and it comes with the screws in the kit as well. I don't know if it shows you did it show you the screws? No. It does come with, oh, there you go. It comes with these 2 screws, and they will go through the end here, and they're the right depth to go into the back of the monitor. So that just gives you a more regular 420 mounting point in, 420, a 1/4 20-inch screw mounting point in the middle, and then I've got sort of an arm that is holding that in the background. So that's how I'm mounting that monitor in the back. What else did I have? Recording, streaming. I think that's probably most of that. I'm just checking my notes here. I wonder if I can show you the monitor. I wonder if that would come through or not, or if that's going to go weird and crazy. So let's go to 4ME input. Program 2. Whoa! No, that's not going to work. All right, let's go back to something other than that. They're trying to like run a live stream and do it. So program 2. I'd have to create a whole. I don't think it's really going to work because it's going to do that whole cascading thing. But I wanted to show you like what I actually put in the teleprompter, because it's not what you were just seeing. How would I do that? What cameras do I have? You can't even see that because like I need to set up a whole nother switcher and then sort of feed it into that and show you so that you can get an idea of what it looks like, or maybe I should just like post-produce something, because live it's a little difficult to show that. Does that work? Okay. This is a very bad angle on it. But you can see the teleprompter here behind this microphone is, I can switch between the program view, this is a very bad view of it, sorry, and the program view, and then the ME2 that I've built, which has the output of the web presenter. And so the web presenter has a sort of 3G out, and then that comes back into the 2ME mixer, and then I'm putting that through a DVE, so I'm expanding it, so I just want to see the video part of it, not the extra bit around the edge of the web presenter. But I've just got it so I can see a little bit of the audio meters you'll see there in the teleprompter up here. So my audio meters, just to make sure like my voice is coming. So this is my terrible view of the confidence monitor. Let's see if I can zoom in right in on that. No, this is as far as I got. Okay, so I got my audio to make sure there's line level coming through. I've got my picture of what's going in there, and then I've got the teleprompter as a Luma key, so I can read the text over the top of the confidence monitor. But then I've got a mask at the bottom here, so that if I have someone like Eric and I put in a comment here, it means that I can actually read the comment off the screen. So I can look at the screen and have my teleprompter text in the top 2/3, and then the comments at the bottom. So that's how that one's working. Ugh. Okay. Hopefully that's good. Let's get back to something a little less ugly in a shot. There we go. And I just have to adjust this one because it looks weird. Oh, I got two of me. How fun. All right. Okay, what do we got? Eric, great to see you. Crazy Red, hello. Thanks for the comment. I don't know what it is with my graphics. For some reason, are not putting up the pictures. Eric says, love, love, love the weird narrow layout of the auxiliary LED screen. Thank you. I like it. I think the other reason I wanted that was I didn't want to have to rearrange windows on a monitor. Like if you've got a monitor and you're sort of putting a multi-view in it, but then, I mean, I guess you could feed it into a multi-view portion of the screen, but it was just kind of nice to have something that was very lightweight that could be mounted beneath or above the teleprompter and was really customizable. So I can make the clock really big and just like sort of 3 boxes, or I can make it a bit smaller and then fit like a whole lot of other things on it. So that's handy. Big dealer in the house. Great to have you here. I've gone played. Yes, I guess. Eric was like watching the Millennium Falcon go into hyperspace. Yeah, I'm getting more and more monitors in here, so it's a bit more of a setup. And the other thing with the studio is I do as much as possible try and make it very adaptable so that like this desk, for example, I can move across to the side and then I have a backdrop that I can roll down. So it's like doing that this week for a shoot. It does mean for a live stream, you always have to like reset something. So like I noticed today when I was setting up that my microphone position had shifted a bit because of the talent that we had in here. Where's that shot? I think it was this one. Yeah, so the microphone was normally further back, but everything's shifted around a bit, so it gets a little, let me just get rid of this comment. It gets, yeah, like PTZ cameras are great if you've got a predefined space, but you know, if you move your desk, you've got to go in and reconfigure the shots, but that's part of the deal. Jules, great to have you here, your uptown neighbor. Let me cut back to something where I can actually not have a weird shot. Uptown neighbor, let's catch up soon. I've been invited to join the new Timothée Chalamet and Marty Supreme movie, playing ping pong. That is so you. Congratulations, that's really exciting. I'd love to share the details with you. Shoot me an email. I'd love to
know how you've got that going on and where we can see you in a New York scene. Good question here from Stanley. Am I the only one seeing ads during the live stream? Yeah, I'd love your feedback on that. I have ads enabled, but I've got like the lowest version of that. So I think YouTube just chooses the spot to give that. And I don't know if that varies depending on your particular user profile as opposed to, you know, like everyone getting it at the same time. I think you can do. I've noticed in Companion, there is a command which, I think if I got this from memory correctly, is like you can send an ad break. You can like press a button to create an ad break in YouTube. So like, it's a very interesting use case of like if you're trying to make more of a TV show type format where you've got a segment and then you could throw to a break, have a sort of spin out and then like a sting and then throw the break, you have ads and then, I don't know how you'd, because yeah, I don't know how you'd come back from that though, because the ads might vary a bit or I don't know. And then you've got to click the link to come back, you know, like skip the ad or could vary a lot. And okay, good. We've got some comments here. Crazy Red is seeing ads, the ones that you can skip after 5 seconds. So yeah, I've got that on like the lowest one. It's always a thing, like with a small channel like mine, it's like in some ways there's no point monetizing it because it's not like the money that I get from it is noticeable at all. Like I get some money, but it's probably like I think YouTube sent me $130 this month for AdSense. I don't know if that was like per month or if that's like collectively over a period of time until it's over $100 and then they pay out. I'm not sure. But it's, you know, it's not money that I would notice. And so in some ways, maybe it would be better to just not have ads on and then we can just chat and yeah, let me know. Let me know if you find that a very, I mean, obviously ads are always disruptive. Yeah, I think I just triggered this. From the camera side view, you don't look too crowded, but that may be the magic of a wide angle. Your view makes it look like things are more crowded or claustrophobic. Yeah, that's a good point. Camera side view, you don't look too crowded. Yeah, so, I mean, behind me, I tried to make it sort of as simple and minimalist as possible. And I've got this sort of sound treatment stuff for, it's not like sound proofing, it's just like dampening the acoustics of the space. And then, oh, actually, it's really, I didn't turn off my fan. Usually I turn off my fan. Let me see if I can just turn this one off. Oh. I don't know if you notice a difference in the audio there. Tell me if you notice a difference in the audio. I have on the rack, I have a, because the rack's really close here, and I normally have a fan running, and I could turn it down a bit, but when I'm live streaming, I just sort of turn it off for the hour. And I forgot to do that today. So there's probably fan noise all through this episode. But if you noticed, I do have a gate on the microphone too, so maybe that cut it out. Don't know. But so I've got sound treatment in here to sort of dampen the sound, and we do like mostly like interviews and pieces of the camera and that kind of stuff. It works well for sort of a mid shot standing. And then I've got like a green and a white backdrop that we can pull down for photo shoots or talking head type stuff. And yes, they are 1x1 sound panels. I think that's right. Yeah, they're exactly a foot. So you could basically count that and you know, you'll see that this is 8 feet wall to wall in the background, and then there's those edges too. And it probably just looks bigger than it is because it's not too much busy stuff in the background. It's sort of kind of minimalist, apart from the grid, which can be, the grid can be your worst enemy on a shot like this, because if you're not fully centered and leveled out, then you start to, like, I start to notice the skews and the whatever. And there was times where I had the camera more in the corner of the room because it just meant there's more space to move around in here and I don't have to reset things and I just could leave it there. But wasn't as strong a shot. Like it's much stronger to have a shot that's square on. There's a bit of desk here to sort of demonstrate things. So yeah. Eric, I'm hearing less of the gating now when you're speaking. It's kind of high-pitched whine whenever you were talking. Fan off is much better. Great. Yeah, I think I need to probably put that circuit on a Wi-Fi plug and then build that into Companion so that when I hit the sort of, first position start shows, it just like kills the fan. That's what I've got for my run of show with things like, the encoder and recording and camera positions and lights and all that kind of stuff. So the more and more I can just put onto what a first look of the show looks like, then much better. So, but yeah, so back to that view of this shot, I do try and keep it as clean as possible. I am in the process trying to get rid of this audio mixer here. I want that off the desk and gone. I'm waiting for it to be in stock. I'm probably going to get an M32C that I could put in the rack, which is a Midas, just like a rack version, and put Dante in that. So it would be all completely virtual, and then the 32 you can control through Companion, so that would be sort of taken into that workflow. At the moment, this is more of a manual audio mixer that is then feeding into the ATEM in terms of turning the microphone on and off. That's how the automation is through the ATEM and Companion. But I just like things minimalist and like clearing it off, and it's already getting too much. Should move this one down here, get that one out of the way, because more space is better, particularly when you're in New York and you don't have very much space to speak of. And then the reverse view that we had here, let me just go back to, where did I have that tail? Camera 2 was it this one or was it my desk? Let's pull back a bit here. Yeah, that's the flight deck that we're talking about here. But I do try and like keep these monitors. This one's sliding away a bit. Because when I'm editing, I will normally bring this monitor around like that, and let's just move this all around like that, and so then I can have resolve up like that, and I'm just editing at the desk, and I can also move this desk around because this whole desk is on wheels, so that's another way of just sort of working in different spaces. And then the multi-view monitor is normally like just sitting up here, and that's been what I've been using. I've got a copy of that going to this monitor that I was showing you today, just because I can, because I've got the output. But eventually, I'm still not sold on this monitor, partly because I think it's the color depth and the contrast and the highlights kind of bug me. Like it's fine for getting a picture up, but it does kind of bug me looking at it, and it just doesn't look as clean or bright or whatever. And so yeah, so I've been looking at those other monitors to try and get in there, but all of that can be packed away, and then this teleprompter just kind of sits there because week to week I don't really want to like reconfigure the space. Crazy Red, minimalist lies, not with all of that gear hidden. This is very true. Let me just come back to a shot where you can see me on. Yeah, there's certainly a lot of stuff going on in the background, that's for sure. But in terms of what gets presented, I do want it to try and be as clean as possible, because otherwise it just, the magic of showbiz, that's right. Eric says, you're getting full use out of the monitor arms, being able to do other tasks at the desk when you're not streaming. So yeah, I really set up this desk. Oh, that was the wrong button. I realized that was my fallback. Let's go to this one, and I'm just gonna pull back to this one. I wanted to show you the full desk from above. This is a uplift desk or something. It's been pretty good. I put some wheels on it, which
let me hide this one so you can see. So, but the wheels elevated it to a point where it's like a little bit higher than I would like. And I really do need to get like a better, like a chair that's a little bit higher. Like I probably should be up here somewhere just because of my long legs, you know. But having the wheels means that I can sort of move, you know, just unlock it and slide the desk around. And I did a big rewiring recently because I was losing, I had so many cables just like falling apart at the bottom. So I've like bolted under here, I've bolted in like the power and I don't know, various docks and stuff like that. So basically I have the two monitors arms coming out this way. And then there's these power warts here that have power. And I could put a Wi-Fi plug on it if I wanted to, but I just have gone with power on all the time. And then these little, like, has a cable out, and that's what I run to the Stream Deck to run the Stream Deck, or else I have other cables that I can use for charging my iPhone, like that, which is pretty flat, so we should plug that in. And then I have another rung of 3 Stream Deck cables, because if I'm using more than one Stream Deck, then you know I want to have these 3 ready to go, spaced out, so I can bring more Stream Decks into play. But otherwise, I do really like the minimalist part of it, you know, and having the Stream Deck here is easy to demonstrate things to you guys on the live stream, but I like that I can very easily move that out of the way and get rid of these cables and sort of clean that up so that I can sort of present other things, and that, or else that on the iPad over here, I can bring up the emulator and sort of do my whole show through sort of a version of the Stream Deck here on the iPad. So that just makes it very flexible and easy. And then I have my comments on the iPad over there. So let me see, it's about time to go. Before we go, let's just take a little bit of a look at Stream Deck Studio, because Elgato have actually sent me some Stream Decks to look at, and I haven't had a chance to even like really open them at all. But this is, I've got 2 of these, so we're going to be looking at these in the coming weeks, because they are the future. They are the future. Let me just come in here. So I got my microphone right in the shot here. Let's have a little look inside while we're here. I think I can get in a little bit tighter. All right, so we got this box, and it's a eco-friendly with a bit of like fun glossy stuff on the edge of it as well. Bit of info on the side, and greatness starts now. Here's under here, and then we got a little manual, just a very quick start guide there. We have the device itself, which I'll put down here. We've got some brackets. We've got a, what's that? Another, I don't know what that is. More info. And then we got some screws, which I'm assuming are for the brackets. So we got the brackets, and I'll put this one back in the box because I don't need that now. Move this one over. And then this is the actual Stream Deck Studio. All right, so let me have a look here. Ooh, very nice. It smells new. All right, and that is the Stream Deck. I'm gonna have to play with this. This is like, I literally have not taken this out of the box yet. So, but if you haven't seen it before, it's got 32 buttons. It's got 2 dials. It's got an NFC chip for security for logging in. It's got a USB-C out if you wanted to plug this into another sort of Stream Deck console. So you could have something, you know, here in a rack, and then you could have this little panel just like floating around wherever it's convenient. And then on the back side, what do we have on the back side? So it's like it's a 1U rack unit, but then this back section has
I don't know, components in it, I guess. But the cables are plugged in this side, so it sits pretty flat, and you could put that into a rack. And then the main story here is the PoE. So let me just start with this side. So this side you have the USB-C power. So if you just wanted to, you could power it via USB-C, but you don't have to, because the idea is on this side you can either plug it in via USB-C to your computer, or the big thing here is a PoE plus Ethernet adapter, and this is the game-changing part of it. And the reason is every other Stream Deck has a USB port, which gives you probably at the maximum 15 feet between a computer and the control panel. Whereas when you're using something that's network-based, you could put this hundreds of feet away and just plug it in, and then you're powering this off a computer server that's more centralized, and you could have multiple Stream Decks, you know, different surfaces running to different workstations. So that is what makes this so cool. Again, you've got an NFC thing here, so you could touch like I think it really works with any pass. It'll like read it, and then you can store that, and then you could, you know, so you could have like a door pass to get in at work, and it can read that, store the ID, and then you can recall it that way. The other, which I haven't tried yet, but the other feature is that all of these buttons can be used in such a way where if you press it down and rotate the dial, you can sort of change the settings on that button. So if you imagine a whole patch bay of auxiliary inputs, and you could, you know, press like, I want to do auxiliary 3, and I want to like change the routing of what goes in there. So that sort of function increases how much you can do with this device. And then obviously being able to extend it out is really cool for, you know, you always need more buttons. You need more buttons. You got to have your macro pads and your switches and all that kind of stuff. So very thankful to Elgato for sending this over, and I'm excited to sort of play with it and explore it and sort of see what that does in the coming weeks. And yeah, we'll take a look at that. Eric says, wow, looking forward to it. Yes, some beautiful unboxing. So that was an unboxing of the Stream Deck. That is what you get. Stream Deck Studio, that's what you get in there. Eric says, so for your YouTube channel, sorry, there's a bit of a light there. The real review will be your critique discussion of the software control of this device versus your extensive mastery of Companion. Yeah, it's a good point. Like at the moment, there are, as far as I'm aware, 3 ways to control this. One is using Elgato's Stream Deck software. So like you would with any other Stream Deck, you could run it off that, and that would have all of that same functionality. Then also Companion will see this one, it will just show up. I'm curious I haven't tested this, so I don't know if this will work, but I do have bear with me, because we can just play around with this and see what happens. I haven't read the manual either, so I don't know if I would totally recommend this. But under surfaces in Companion, remote surfaces, there we go. Let me go super source, because that's a bit more. All right, so then we can basically plug it in. This is the first time I've done this. Let's see what happens. Does anything happen? Oh yeah, there it goes. Power it on. Ooh, getting something over here. This one came up. It's getting an IP address. 192.168.7.195. Interesting. So it's just DHCP mask. Okay, so it's automatically plugged in. Let me see if I go add remote surface, SDS1, and we're going to give it 192.168.7.95. Default port. I don't know what that is. Where is it? Is it like 8080 or something? I'm actually not sure what that is. 1504. I don't know what the port is. Well, I don't know. See that? Who knows? But that is how you would go into Companion and you would have a surface that shows up there. Does that show up there? I don't know. I'm gonna have to play around with this. I'm just plugging it in for the first time. Don't really know what I'm doing there, so I will review and dive a bit deeper into it, because that is like I said, I really do think this is like, well, when I say it's the future, I mean obviously the existing Stream Decks have been game-changing for streamers, and it's the ease of plugging a USB directly into a computer is really what you want for a sort of gaming or home setup. But once you get into a larger professional broadcast or professional live streaming scenario, you need something more robust than just sort of direct device to computer, and you want more like device to network. And having this kind of, you know, like it's locked in there, that's not coming out, and also just sort of ubiquitous in terms of networking gear that's widely available. You don't need special gear to sort of set that up. You can just plug it straight in and it works. That is what is going to make it a real hit in the broadcast space and for, you know, video professionals. So I'm excited to see what happens with this and how we can sort of regroup this with the two of them. And the third one I didn't say. So there's Elgato, there's Companion, and then, which is BitFocus, and then BitFocus, as you may know by now, are releasing a commercial version of Companion, sort of version. Does a lot of the similar things that Companion does, but it's like complete rewrite, and it's their sort of commercial offering. And that is sort of the recommended way to run this panel. So that is one way of doing that. All right, I better get out of here, because otherwise, you know, got things to do. We've got to get on with the day. Thanks for watching. It's been really great to have you here as we just sort of discuss random things that are happening in the studio, and I will keep you abreast of the teleprompter and the clock and the Stream Deck as we do, as I have a moment to play around with it. It's just getting into that busy end of the year. So until next week, take care, and I'll see you then.